But what's most important is what you are physically doing. In this country, in this country's history, some of the greatest achievements within our history have been achieved through massive civil disobedience. I can name numerous examples, but I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Nothing that's worth achieving can be achieved in any kind of democracy, which only guarantees your rights on paper without the participation of the populace. You must instigate your government. That is your right here as citizens. In the diaspora, you hold a responsibility that the Ethiopian people do not have. They are mute against their will. They cannot speak up in public. They'll get arrested. They'll get killed. They'll get sent to prison, tortured. We know the stories. I don't have to go on about that. But you bear this responsibility because you do have that power. And quite frankly, there just simply aren't enough of you, like I saw in 2006 and 2007, participating in this government to try to make things happen. How far are you willing to take it? Is anyone ready to engage in civil disobedience? How many Ethiopian Americans do I see standing out in front of the Ethiopian embassy protesting? How many? When did it last happen? Once in a while, a candlelight vigil in front of the White House doesn't mean very much, doesn't grab any attention in the media. When we talk about the importance of a media in a democracy, and this is deadly important, it's not only important for the daily functioning of a democracy, the media can be used to achieve a democratic system, to help achieve it. Examples in point. Civil rights movement here in the 1950s and 60s. Americans weren't really, their imagination wasn't captured by this movement until it started showing up on TV. And I remember that time in the 60s, watching on TV the German shepherds tearing into the children, hoses being turned on people, people getting beat up, people getting killed, people going to prison. When all this was seen on TV, it suddenly captivated the imagination of the United States. And change happened after that. South Africa, apartheid. When those people went into the streets and they started shooting them down in the streets, it was in front of TV cameras. How do you think all that international pressure came to bear on the government with the sanctions? Almost brought to the country to a verge of a collapse. The media is very powerful, not just for the daily functioning of a democracy, but to help achieve a system that is fair to its people. You have these tools available to you here. The media is extremely restricted in Ethiopia. Ethiopians have very little they can do. It's controlled by the government. But you have all these means at your disposal here, and it's your responsibility. That falls on you. I'm going to go to Europe to these film festivals for my film. And by the time I come back, the election in Ethiopia will probably be over. If Burtukan Mideska is still in prison at that time, I will commence a hunger strike, either in front of the State Department or in front of the White House. I know what I will do. What I'm asking you is what you will do. How many of you in this room are going to go down and join me in this hunger strike? How many? Can I see any hands? You're willing to come down there and do that. You're aware that the media will probably be there, and you'll be seen all over. I understand the risk that many of you fear to your family in Ethiopia. But it really depends on how important you think this is in your time, in your history. Does this mean anything? For Ethiopians in Ethiopia, it's difficult for them to get information. We hear about how they're jamming the VOA and they're doing all this other crazy stuff. You know, that's to be expected. But they do get information. It filters through. Imagine how inspiring it is to them when they see a bunch of Ethiopian Americans that are refusing to eat in front of the State Department or the White House because of a jailed political dissident in Ethiopia. It's tremendous, tremendous. It would mean the world to them. Who knows, it could even inspire a movement. The initiative has to be taken by somebody, and that power is with you. They don't have that in Ethiopia. You do. What's noticeably absent in this room is youth. I'm not saying anything about anyone's age here. You all look great, but including myself. But there should be more younger people in this room. There should be younger people involved in this movement, because if there's any possibility of them being able to go back to Ethiopia, having a country to go back to where they could be proud, it's going to be with them. So I hope that you are teaching your children that getting involved in politics is the right thing to do, is a good thing to do. You should be doing it. It's your responsibility, not just as American citizens, but as citizens of the world. And that's all I'll say. Thank you very much.